Hey, there's something I wanted to encourage you with today, and it's found in the book of Luke. But first, I want to tell you one of my favorite things about looking, especially in the New Testament, anytime that Jesus says anything, I find it personally fascinating because of this. Jesus said himself that the only things he said and the only things he did were exactly what his Father told him to say or told him to do. And that anytime we look at Jesus, anytime we listen to what Jesus said, we're seeing exactly what God the Father would say or do, because he sent Jesus to be his representation, to be his representative. God became flesh so that we would know who God is and what he's like, what he cares about, what he thinks about us, how he feels about us, so that we could have a right concept of him, so that we could have a right relationship with him. Well, in the book of Luke, Jesus was telling some stories. In fact, he did that often. He told these things called parables, stories that had spiritual significance. And in this one story that he tells in particular, it's all about how God the Father thinks about people, about you and me. And it's called the parable of the prodigal son. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just want to encourage you with this. The whole story is about a son who takes his inheritance from his father and he goes away to a foreign land and he loses everything. He squanders it on wild living, partying, women, whatever. He takes his whole inheritance and just throws it away. Everything that his father had provided for him, had given to him, he just trashes it. Well, one day when he's completely hit his bottom, he's down and out. It says in the story that he came to his senses and he thought, wow, you know what? My father, even the people that work for my father, never go without. And because he was experiencing famine, the whole land was experiencing a famine, he was in an incredibly bad way. So when he came to his senses, he thought, what am I going to do? Well, and he thought, I'm going to return to my father. Now that was taking a big risk. Going back and trying to reconcile with the father after the way that this guy treated his dad, by the way he just threw everything in his face, told him that he didn't want to have a relationship with him, he just wanted out, didn't have anything to do with him, turned his back on him, ran away. Well, he disgraced his father, disgraced his family, he brought shame to everyone. And now he's at the place where he's come to his senses and he wants to restore a relationship and he's taking a risk. What kind of reaction is he going to get from his father? Well, in the story, the Father represents God. Jesus wanted people to know exactly how the Father feels about you and me. I don't know what you think or what kind of picture you have in your mind about what God is like or what he thinks about you. If you think about your life and the things that you've done, things that you've said, the things that maybe you're not so proud of, what's God going to think? What would he do if you decided that you somehow wanted to go back and restore a relationship with him? Well, let me read what it says here. It says this. When he came to his senses, this is the son, he said, how many of my father's hired men have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I'll set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired men. So he got up and went to his father. He's completely feeling unworthy, dirty, ashamed, disengaged. But he went back. And this is the response that he got. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son. He threw his arms around him and kissed him. What a reaction. Is that what you would expect? It's not what I would expect. I would expect to be slapped upside the head and maybe, kind of been read the riot act. But do you have any idea how this made me feel? What you've done to our family? Do you realize the pain that you've caused me? Man, you need to suffer. You need to be punished. Okay, I'll grudgingly let you back in, but you're gonna have some sort of secondary status from now on because you blew it. You threw me under the bus. You ran away. You screwed everything up. I'll let you back into my family, but you're going to be a second-class citizen, and you're going to have some sort of scarlet letter put around you that everybody will know that you've been a disappointment, that you've disobeyed, and you've been disrespectful. That's not the treatment he got. He got a father who was looking for him, waiting for him, eagerly awaiting the return of the son because he loved his son. Later on, it says that his father threw a huge party for him. He got a robe and put a ring on his finger. They slaughtered the fattened calf and they had a feast, and his whole description about that. And the reason why I did that is because my son was lost. He was gone, and now he's back. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm not disgusted. I know that what he did was wrong, but I love him. That's how God feels about us. I don't know about you, but there's been many times where I found myself disconnected from the Father, where I have done things, I've sinned. I have done things that I am ashamed of, things that I know that wouldn't please my Father. And every time I have to think through, what do I do now? Can I go back? Is it okay to go back? What's he going to think about me? I've blown it too bad this time. That's not what Jesus was communicating. That's not what the Father is like. Our Heavenly Father is like this Father, one who deeply desires to have a relationship with us, no matter what we've done, no matter who we are. He wants us to come back. He wants to be in relationship with us. And when we do come back, when we do admit that we were wrong, and we come back to him, he gladly and willingly embraces us, brings us back into right relationship, not in some sort of second-class citizen status, but he celebrates, he feasts. Isn't that encouraging? There's nothing you can do that's going to separate you from the love of the Father. There's nothing that you could have done that's going to disqualify you from coming into personal relationship with him. He loves you and he loves me and he wants us to be with him. And that's what Jesus wanted his people, his disciples, and the people that were listening to tell these stories. That's what he wanted them to know, because Jesus came to show us who the Father is and what he's like. Hopefully you find that encouraging today. And may you find yourself in the Father's embrace today. Thanks.